I've always used a rain stick ever since I've gone into school, because I think when you're a student it's quite important to sort of put your not your mark, but to suddenly you're not going to use what the teacher uses as to control the children or to behaviour manage. So I've always introduced a rain stick, and my rain stick's quite quiet, so if they are being, and it works with year 6 children and it works with year 1 children, if they're being quite noisy they have to listen quite hard to hear the rain stick going.
Have you got your rain stick?
I just have.
What you bought earlier.
This is the stick I use, and it obviously just sounds like water. Their first reaction when you introduce it into the classroom is that to bash me with? But obviously it isn't. And I quite like this. I'd got this before I decided to become a teacher, but because it's wooden, it's quite tactile, and the noise is quite nice. The children like to touch it as well. And so to start, when I first start, I always introduce why I've got this stick with me, and the total reasons and whatever. And it takes a while for them to start to to hear it and to respond to it. But even if I'm doing any sort of activity, if I want to suddenly move, I just go and get the stick and just do it, and they stop. And it was funny actually, on my last placement I had a tutor come in, and she'd come to observe me, and why I don't know, but she sat quite close to me so I could hear what she was asking my teacher. And I was with a year 1, year 2 class, and at one point she said, it'll be interesting to see how she manages to move them from this activity onto their next activity. And I'd got my rain stick with me, and you're being observed out. So, and I literally did just get it out, and it doesn't always work on the first time, I'll say. You have to sometimes be very patient. But the more you move it, then they will like, shh, shh, the stick's going, shh, shh. And they do turn around and then listen.
That with the tambourine.
Yeah,
it was really effective.
Did they have fingers in the air as well?
No, he just did the tambourine. Yeah. It was whenever he used it for moving from one lesson to the next, but it was also whenever the noise level got too high, he just put on he just played the tambourine.
Yeah. With the class I had did exactly the same. Tambourine in the air so they could all hear, but they all had to stop exactly what they were doing, put the fingers in the air and wave them as well.
It's quite a good idea to have something that isn't too noisy to do it with. Like you can get the singing bowls as well, so they just make a really gentle noise. So it's not any sort of aggressive,
it's very
loud noise,
though, isn't it?
Yeah, and they have to listen out for it. So whatever they're doing, and it works for PE or whatever, they can hear that noise and stop and move on to the next thing.
Instead of like you were saying, like instead of like an aggressive, like loud noise, you could just have like maybe like I've seen, especially in like drama and things, we put your hands in the air, and then when they see it, it kind of takes a while for everyone. But once, or maybe like your finger on the nose, or start doing like an action, and they'd have to do the same action kind of thing. And once one's noticed it, then like the table goes, and then like the next kind of thing, and it. Instead of like trying to shout over them or like make a loud noise over them, sometimes it's quite subtle and it's quite calming as well. So instead of.
But we're moving from one task to another. Quite often you just need to get their attention, sort of complete silence. So sometimes if it's they're being quite energetic and you're going to have to bring them down gradually, then perhaps sometimes doing it quickly can be quite effective by using a question and answer response that's maybe doing a clap followed by another clap, or like singing, are you listening? Yes we are, and then silence.
And you need to move them away from the distractions as well, because maybe they'll still be focused on the other lesson, so we need to everybody needs to close their books and just put them in a pile on a table, because otherwise they'll just be so they won't want to stop. I've been with some that just want to keep carrying on, which is quite good.
There's something still in front of them, they're quite prone to fiddling with it as well.
Have you seen that technique that you mentioned, clapping, where they do a tune or something like this? Have you seen that?
Yes. Is it not?
I don't know. I've seen them use arms and they slap their faces and they're doing that, and they do a pattern and let all the children have to. All the children join in there until they've got the whole pattern going, and it sort of fills me with dread because I know I'd look at the pattern.
That's why I have something that's really easy, because I don't particularly want to have to project my voice very loudly. And that this is very quick. It's literally on my desk at all times, and you can just pick it up, do it, and that's it. And they've stopped instantly, and they're ready. And I do it like through maths lessons when I've given them 10 minutes or whatever, and I want to check where they're at, and I'll just do that quickly, and then everybody.
It's a nice idea because it's very auditory as well. I can hear that. I've seen we had some big sound timers that were sort of this sort of sort of size, and all I did on a couple of occasions when I wanted to move on was just pick it up, hold it up in front of me, turn it upside down, wait, so they could see that time was ticking down, and I was waiting for them, and they all gradually just came down, and then I put it down and carried on.